Hi, I'm Corey, and I'm here to talk about archetypes. You may be asking yourself, what's an archetype? Is it some kind of disease? Was I supposed to pick some up at the grocery store? And so forth. Don't worry, I'm about to answer that. But before I do, I need to talk about the Odyssey. So, the Odyssey is a collection of poems/stories written a couple thousand years ago by a guy named Homer. Not that one. Oh, there we go. Anyway, many debate whether he was an actual person or not, but evidence is still a little murky, so it may be a while until we find out for sure. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The Odyssey is basically one long story about a hero named Odysseus, who fought in the Trojan War with his crew. Basically, the story goes that the gods did not like how he fought the war, so they cursed his journey home to be 10 years long. Along the way, he encountered many different people and monsters and quests and tasks, and, sounds like an average adventure story nowadays, doesn't it? Well, most adventure stories actually use elements that can be found in the Odyssey. These are called archetypes. Archetypes can include stuff like the hero, or the battle between good and evil, or the evil palace, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. You've probably read something like these in books, or seen them on TV, or in movies, right? But if you're not convinced yet, let's look at some modern day examples. My first example is a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It is a comedy made by the Coen brothers. It is about a man named Ulysses Everett McGill, escaping from a prison farm in Mississippi with his two chainmates, Pete and Delmar. They are trying to get buried treasure before it gets destroyed by a flood. As well as containing many archetypes, it is an adaptation of the Odyssey. You can see many of the stories we read in the film, like sirens,
How to do, ladies? Name of Pete.
and cyclops.
That's why I invited y'all out here for this advanced tutorial.
What's going on, Big Dan?
It's all about the money, boys!
There are so many archetypes to choose from in this movie, but I chose the hero. Ulysses Everett McGill is a representation of Odysseus. Well, first on purpose, but also in the way he acts and leads. My next example is a game called Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 is a video game made by a game company called Valve. It's a continuation of the first game, which is called Half-Life. In Half-Life 2, you play as a scientist named Gordon Freeman. So here's the story. Sometime in between Half-Life and Half-Life 2, the world got taken over by this evil organization called the Combine. They basically turned the Earth into a dystopia. Anyway, here's a summary of Half-Life 2, as quick as I can make it. It's a fun game, you should try it out. Anyway, my archetype is the battle between good and evil. So, in the game, you are battling the Combine with this group of rebels called, well, the Rebels. So, you are basically fighting evil alongside good. So that's why I chose this one. It's pretty self-explanatory. Moving on. My third example is a book series called Percy Jackson, written by Rick Riordan. Percy Jackson is another adaptation of the Odyssey. It takes a lot of the stories and character types straight from it. Basically, it's about this kid who has a crappy life and then he realizes it's because he's a demigod. I mean, I can't really explain it any simpler than that. Anyway, after he discovers he's a demigod, he gets sent to this summer camp for demigods. It's weird. Anyway, the camp teacher, whatever, guide, teacher, I guess, is named Chiron. Apparently in Greek mythology, he is like the teacher of gods. So, I guess he's kind of fit for this job. Anyway, I chose him as guide because he fulfills the archetype of, the guide. In Percy Jackson, he's always helping people train, or, helping people prepare for quests, or just helping them in general. I mean, he does a lot of helping in these books. So, I thought it was appropriate to have him as the guide. So, in conclusion, archetypes are everywhere. Every story we read, every video we watch, everything. I mean, they are the building blocks of a story, right? But it does raise the question, when will content stop being original? Is every story just going to end up being a copy of another? If you look at trends nowadays, you can kind of see evidence of this already starting to happen. The most popular movies are just sequels and remakes of other ones. YouTube videos mainly consist of the same things, over and over and over and over. Same reactions, same makeup tutorials, just all kind of piggybacking off of each other. And people seem fine with this. I mean, we do like repetition after all. I mean, why do you think we have all these archetypes? So I leave you with this. Why not go outside and do something new? I mean, you'll probably learn something. Okay, that's it. Goodbye. Roll credits.